Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber direct me to another YouTuber, and I'm going to flip his question in here. He basically wanted to know if I'd ever heard of Eugenia Cooney, and what do I think about her anorexia, and do I think she's putting out a bad message to others? Let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, let's do a little crafting, and let's talk about this. Honestly, guys, I don't watch a lot of YouTube, to be fair, and most of the YouTube that I do watch, even though fitness is my main niche, firearms is my secondary niche, firearms and politics, I don't really watch anything other than tips on hand loading, or maybe different things guys are doing with their AR-15 builds. That's about all I watch YouTube for, that and music. So I don't really get to see a lot of this stuff unless you direct it to me. So if I went to her channel thinking, because people are saying, oh yeah, she's promoting anorexia, and her subscribers are saying, no, she's healthy, y'all need to shut up. I actually watched a couple of her videos to understand who she is. Not a channel I would normally watch, not interested in that at all. But yeah, she definitely 100% chance is anorexic. However, do I think she's promoting anorexia directly in any way? Do I think she's a bad person? No. No, I don't. I watched her actual video talking about all this, where she doesn't understand why everyone's hating on her, that other channels are making things. She seemed really nervous about it, but I think that's just her personality. It's just a very nervous young girl. But what I think is interesting is she promoting anorexia indirectly? Probably not. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I don't think most young women look at her and go, hey, I want to look like that. Most young women who develop anorexia, they only get that effect when they're going and being around other anorexics who are promoting it directly, like there are pro-anorexia groups and sites and things. I don't think she's promoting that. I don't think this young lady has come to terms with the fact that she even is anorexic. As far as I know, she's not telling other people to look like her. She's actually kind of said that I'm not telling other people to try to be as thin as me. And the thing is, she's getting a lot of hate. And you know what, that's something I can understand and relate to, man. I got whole channels, entire channels dedicated to making videos about me. There's probably 200 hours of footage out there of people shit-talking me, hating on me. So I understand where she's coming from. And I kind of feel a little bad for her, because you have someone who clearly is suffering from some anorexia, and that's something that people on the internet are not going to be able to help them with at all. I mean, when someone is suffering from something like that, telling them, oh, you're going to die, or you're an evil person or a bad person, you're not helping them at all. You got someone who already has some self-esteem issues. They've got some body image issues, and telling them that's not going to help them. Maybe people should politely encourage them to go get psychiatric help, because that's the only thing that's going to help that person. And hating them isn't going to help. And for people to pretty much just attack somebody like that, you know, that's what you expect on the internet. Guys, people on the internet are for the most part a bunch of big pussies who like to sit back at a distance and harass people. And, you know, they stalk people, and they even tend to do things to them at their homes and everything, their intended victims, from a distance. But you know what? They're big pussies who are scared to actually confront anybody for the most part. But people like the anonymity of the internet. They like to be able to sit behind the internet and attack people, oftentimes with their face, with their name, with their identity hidden, knowing that they're safe. Because that's the world we live in today, unfortunately. The internet brings out the worst in a lot of us. Particularly very cowardly people who just want to feel important. They want to feel big. And so they choose to attack this young lady. But am I concerned that anorexia is being shown there and not being addressed? Yeah, I'm very concerned by that, because I'm someone who very much promotes fitness, and anorexia is just as deadly as morbid obesity. It's a real problem, and it's a growing crisis for young women, and now a growing crisis for young men. But you know what, guys? Hating on those people is not going to help it. Again, what's better to happen is that for enough people to see it, and for maybe some therapists, counselors, people like that, to try to reach out to those people, you know, send them to the appropriate resources so maybe they can get the help they need, because she seems like a nice young lady, and I think it would be terrible if someone who has kind of gotten a following and everything dies because of anorexia or has major health problems related to it. She's thin enough, that's a real concern. And maybe she's in denial of that, because she did kind of say that, but hating her is not going to help. Why would you hate somebody who has a mental illness? That doesn't make any sense. It's beyond their control. It's like hating someone for being depressed, hating for someone for having social anxiety. These are things people choose to have. Again, that's just poor mental health awareness. To hate people for those things, that's crazy, but people do that online. And again, it's just a very disgusting part of human nature when they have the anonymity of the internet. And even telling this young lady, hey, you need to eat. All these people telling her, hey, eat a cheesecake, eat a sandwich. This is someone with anorexia. You're not going to be able to do that to them. No any more than you could tell someone on the internet who seems depressed, stop being depressed, be happy. It doesn't work that way, guys. We're dealing with all sorts of neurotransmitters, brain chemicals, everything else. Just telling someone something's not going to fix anything. It's stupid. But you know what? The thing is, everyone in the fitness world will see that and freak out. And they want to act like YouTube fitness doesn't promote anorexia also. Stop and think about it. Stop and think about it. An anorexic chick might eat a 1,000-calorie diet for 6 months straight or a year straight to look like that, right? 1,000 calories. They're probably in a 500-calorie deficit for long term. You don't see anorexic men on here? YouTube fitness? Yeah, sure you do. You just don't realize they're anorexic because they use steroids to hold on to a lot of their muscle mass. If they weren't using Trenbolone or Anavar, a lot of these guys who you think of as fitness people would look just like she does. They would look like male versions of this girl if they didn't use the steroids to hold on to their muscle. You want me to give you a perfect example? How about Jeff Seid? Look at Jeff Seid's diet. He does weightlifting several days a week. He does cardio. He probably has a TDEE of 3,000 plus calories a day when he's cutting. Yet he eats 1,800 calories when he cuts with 30 grams of fat. That is an insane starvation deficient diet for him. That is a dangerous diet for a man of his weight and his level of physical activity. That is a dangerous diet. That is a clear sign of anorexia, or manorexia as we call it. And the only reason Jeff Seid doesn't look like a concentration camp victim, the only reason he doesn't look like Eugene Cooney, but a semi-male version, I guess. He's kind of, I don't know, ambiguous a little bit with all the eyebrow plucking and all that shit. Of course, I'm going to get hate for that too, guys. I don't accept the gender neutrality movement. If you watch my other channel, you know how I feel about that. But, yeah, a male version of her is because he uses Tren, because he uses Anavar, because he uses Primobolan. Those are the only reasons he hasn't starved all of his muscle down also and lost 30 or 40 pounds of muscle on top of it when he loses weight. 1,800 calories with 30 grams of fat. Insane for a physically active, athletic young man. Mind-bogglingly insane to even run such a diet for a couple months. It's insane. That is textbook anorexia. But the only difference is all these guys have this manorexia and they get away with it on YouTube Fitness because they use drugs to hold on to their muscle mass. Any of these guys dieting down as lean as they're getting would be even smaller than they are. They would start to look like skeletons if they weren't using drugs. You can't drop down to 5% body fat like a lot of these guys do without looking anorexic. So anorexia is promoted in YouTube Fitness as well. People just don't want to come to terms with it. Or what about another guy on here whose girlfriend clearly is anorexic, but not only anorexic, clearly using certain drugs to obtain that anorexia. I'm not going to go into names here or anything because the guy freaks out every time. And it's just, yeah, I don't want to get up in all that craziness, but you know, Team Baby Boom or something. The behavior of his girlfriend when they put her on camera and then she looks anorexic in certain photos at contest time, all twitchy and everything. You guys see how she does, and they talk about she eats any food she wants, no food avoidance and no cardio to get down to looking emaciated. Basically, she's a tweaker, for anyone who knows that term. Basically tweaking to achieve anorexia without having to cut foods out of your diet or do any cardio. Again, anorexia, drug abuse, everything else, even street drug abuse is promoted, sometimes indirectly. They don't want to say that's what's going on, but that is clearly what's going on. We see it all the time in YouTube Fitness, particularly in the bodybuilding and physique ends of it. So let's not pretend like anorexia isn't part of YouTube Fitness as well, not just channels like Eugene Cooney. But the difference is, you know what, I would say these channels are even worse than what she's doing because she's not intentionally promoting it. She's kind of said, I don't understand why people hate me. You know, I'm not trying to tell anyone to look like me or be like me. I don't give diet advice or anything else. And she doesn't seem to. She just seems to be suffering from anorexia and isn't promoting other people to do that. How many of these people who are promoting or actually are doing fitness versions of anorexia, they're using fitness to master anorexia when physique competition itself promotes anorexia oftentimes. to mask it, but they are actually promoting it. They're promoting, oh yeah, you know, you can be a 190-pound male, do cardio every day, lift 5 days a week, and go on 1,800 calories and eat so little fat that you actually develop fat deficiencies and vitamin deficiencies. Oh, that's perfectly fine. See you guys doing that. You see a lot of it on here because everyone is trying to reach this anorexic level of conditioning, as they're calling it here now. It has nothing to do with conditioning. It's just called leanness. Conditioning has to do with, you know, can you run a marathon? Can you go 10 rounds in a boxing ring? That's conditioning. You know, Physique World uses the weirdest terms. They always call it conditioning. It's not. It's starvation. And starvation isn't healthy. And you know what? All the studies that they've done on drug-free bodybuilders who are getting contest lean shows that it's unhealthy. The hormone levels are absolutely wrecked. How is what they're doing any different than if Eugene Cooney got up and started saying, hey, this is my diet. This is my routine. I eat 10 sticks of celery for breakfast. I eat 1 candy bar for lunch. And then I lick an apple for dinner and then throw it away. You know, it would be no different than her getting up and doing that. And you can look just like me if you do that. You should do that. In fact, you could maybe win all sorts of competitions if you do that. It's no different. These people are promoting anorexia also. And some people are like, well, they're still eating calories. No, but their calories are insanely deficient, and their diets are oftentimes extremely deficient compared to their size and their activity level. It's just as unhealthy to get down to 5% body fat as a male. Just as unhealthy as it is what Eugene Cooney's doing. But at least she's not telling people to go do it. These guys are telling people to go do it. They're telling them, this is exactly how I do it. The only thing they skip is that they don't tell you, oh, the only reason I don't look like a skeleton doing this is because of Trembolone, the golden nectar of the gods. That's the part they leave out. That's the part they leave out when they discuss this stuff. But how is it any different? It's still anorexia and starvation any way you break it down. So, you know, maybe people should quit singling her out and they should go hit some of these fitness channels and do the same thing. But the thing is she a bad person? No, I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think anyone should hate her. I do hope that this young lady goes and gets some help, though, because her face, you can even see the nature of her teeth, her face, her entire body, textbook anorexia, and she's in a pretty severe stage of it. And I really and truly hope that this young lady goes and gets the help that she needs. And I would like to ask any of my subscribers or viewers who are watching this to not go harass this girl over it, because you know what? To go hate on somebody for that who's clearly suffering from something like that basically makes you a piece of shit. But that's just my opinion, you know. It's a subjective thing. But in my opinion, if you do that, you're a piece of shit. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.